there is a certain amount of grief that comes with it. And also a feeling of I'm not sure if I'm ready to say goodbye to all this, or maybe I still can keep these people in my life, but approach them in a different way or see them or view them in a different way.
After leaving the corporate 9-to-5 grind, I became the boss of my own spiritual business, helping others explore and navigate the human experience from insight, wisdom, and lessons learned along the way. Today, I help aspiring spiritual entrepreneurs gain the confidence to share their gifts with the world. Welcome to the Happy Healing Shop podcast. I'm your host, Trang Pham Nguyen, and each week we'll dive into incredible stories of strength, resilience, and transformation. So, if you are ready for some serious breakthroughs, laughs and tears, and stories that will inspire you, you are in the right place, my friend. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome back. I had a therapy session where we were talking about kind of the transitions I'm going through, and I think maybe some of you can relate to this, but especially as you get in your late 20s or even your 30s, you start to see or maybe even feel this shift. Some people call it in the spiritual world a Saturn return, but it's also like that next stage of your life. People are having kids, people are going their separate ways, they are moving, have different jobs. And sometimes you feel like you're slowly growing apart from people. And nothing bad has happened. It's more so of like a slow outgrowing of people that you once knew, or maybe your friendships, your colleagues, they start to change, or even the way you look at your family, especially when you're waking up to the family dynamics that exist. And during this period of like realization and waking up, sometimes, a lot of the times, it is painful because there is a certain amount of grief that comes with it. And also a feeling of I'm not sure if I'm ready to say goodbye to all this, or maybe I still can keep these people in my life, but approach them in a different way or see them or view them in a different way. So there's a lot of gray area in this. And what's hard is a lot of times it's not like anyone did anything wrong. Sometimes, yes, and people push your boundaries, and that's like a huge red flag or pink flag for you to maybe do something about it. However, sometimes I think the right word I'm trying to get at is you feel disconnected. And so I started to question what was going on with me. And I want to share what my therapist said. And the word that came up was evolve, evolving as a human. As you evolve, the people and things around you won't look the same anymore. What used to support you may no longer be capable of holding you up. Growth isn't always graceful. Often it's messy, disorienting, and painful. We can find ourselves stuck for months, sometimes years, in a place that no longer feels like home. We start to see a new vision of who we want to be, a different version of ourselves that doesn't fit into the old spaces anymore. If you consider yourself a lifelong learner, if you seek to be a student of life, you are constantly evolving. And because of that, inevitable grief will come with it. The friendships that fade, the people you outgrow, the connections that once felt like lifelines, but now feel like chains. There's grief in letting go of the relationships you thought you had, the ones you believed would always be there. And along with that grief, resentment, anger can surface. Anger at the people who couldn't or wouldn't come along on this journey with you. Anger at yourself, perhaps, for feeling left behind in your own evolution. But the truth is, when we grow, we must be willing to let go of the things that no longer serve us. We must be open to the possibility of new people entering our lives, people who align with who we are becoming, not just who we've been. And we must learn to sit with the discomfort of change, to make peace with the grief. And I think grief is one of those things that people don't realize comes up in a lot of chapters of their lives, because you are over time shedding the old versions of you, but you're still trying to figure out what that new version of you looks like, but you haven't reached that yet. And I think for me, I'm starting to see like friends and colleagues and people going on their different paths and not knowing what our relationship is going to look like. I had someone online comment, I think this is the hardest part of changing and healing, getting used to things being different. Change can be good if you let it. Which obviously with humans, change is very difficult because we're creatures of habit and routine for the most part. Chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are a student of life, or you're the type with a growth mindset, or want to evolve. And evolving, again, shedding those old layers, the skin, like all those, metaphors of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, they're all uncomfortable transitions. And I think the more we talk about it, of that it's normal in life to keep shedding our old identities, right? In your 30s and your 40s and 50s, you're still going to be different people, like slightly different versions of yourself, hopefully for the better. But when we talk more about it, we can accept that it's going to be a normal aspect of life. And in a way, I think be prepared for it as well. And not just only that, but be more accepting of it. And sometimes this evolving could look like starting all over. So I hope with this shorty episode that if you are going through that gray zone or that transition and you have very complicated feelings about how things are going for you, I hope you know that you're not alone and that many people are feeling this discomfort and they may be feeling loss, but it is a part of us evolving as an individual. Now, if you're looking for a kind and amazing spiritual community, I invite you to check out the Happy Healing Club, where you'll be surrounded by people who totally understand your journey and will support you and help you, as well as get access to our monthly healing events and workshops, our Shadowwork self-healing journal, our archive of guided meditations, and also our popular happy hour. And finally, if you found this episode to be helpful, please give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, or share this episode with a friend. I'll include more resources and links down below in the show notes. And as always, remember to shine your light brightly and to share your story, because you never know who it can help or give hope to or inspire to create a change in their own world. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week.